There are men who build, then there are men who fight, and then there was one man who did both until the very last breath. This is the story of a combat engineer, a father, a leader, and the first Medal of Honor recipient of the Iraq War. His name was Paul Ray Smith. April 4th, 2003, just outside Baghdad International Airport. The U.S. invasion of Iraq was just weeks in. American troops were closing in on Saddam Hussein's capital. Among them was Bravo Company, 11th Engineer Battalion, combat engineers trained to fight, to build, to survive. In one of those Bradley fighting vehicles sat Sergeant First Class Paul Ray Smith, 33 years old, husband, father, squad leader, watching the terrain, always thinking a step ahead. Because engineers didn't just follow the fight, they cleared the way for it. Before we go any further, I'd like to take a minute and go back and tell you what a combat engineer really is. Combat engineer, their basic training is in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And it's kind of not fun depending on the seasons you go. So make sure you go during those nice cool seasons, but not too cold. Anyways, it's not just a construction job in uniform. That's not what these guys are. Combat engineers are trained to clear minefields, disarm explosives, build bridges and fortifications, often while under direct fire. So that means they have people shooting at them. They're one of the first ones to breach the enemy defenses, the ones who cut through the obstacles and push ahead so that others can follow. Something else we do is make sure that tracked vehicles and other vehicles can't follow our vehicles. We can blow holes that they can't even understand, and we just pop them out of nowhere. And just before, that road was just normal. So don't ever underestimate these guys. They're trained really well. And let's go back even further and see what these combat engineers did in previous wars. So in D-Day, World War II, engineer teams landed in the first wave on Omaha Beach. They crawled into the gunfire, to place charges and clear minefields by hand. Some units lost over half their men within minutes. In New in North Africa, Korea, Vietnam, the job never changed. Clear the way, take the risk, keep others alive. You sweep the path, dig the trench, build the bridge, and when you're done, if needed, you pick up a rifle and stand the line. Paul Ray Smith knew that. And still, he stepped forward. So, to give you an example, these guys are the cannon fodder, like the front lines, the people who are gutsy enough to just go do whatever it takes. Now, back to April 4th, 2003. A unit of Iraq troops launches a surprise attack near that airport. Over 100 enemy soldiers pour out of a nearby compound. Smith's unit is pinned, and a group of wounded American soldiers are stuck in a courtyard with no cover. Smith takes command instantly, calls for reinforcements, organizes a defense, but the enemy is closing fast, and he sees it. A 50 caliber machine gun on top of a damaged armored vehicle, and he climbs up. Exposed and alone, he starts firing. He fires and does not stop. 10 minutes of fury, holding the line while his men evacuated the wounded, while the enemy surges. 10 minutes of 50 cal. Two, 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 constant. Paul Ray Smith kills at least 20 fighters, maybe more, and then a single round finds him. He dies with his hands still gripping the weapon, and his squad survives because of him. They counted over 50 enemy soldiers dead, but not one of the wounded Americans was lost. Paul Ray Smith had given up everything. Thanks to the stand he made, medics and wounded soldiers were evacuated. Through the breach his team defended. Reinforcements arrived, securing the area and pushing back the remaining enemy forces. His actions had saved over 100 lives that day. 2 years later, on April 4th, 2005, his 11-year-old son stood in the middle of the White House beside George W. Bush and accepted his father's Medal of Honor, the first awarded in the Iraq War, the first to a combat engineer in modern war to receive it. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Vet Podcast. If you found this story powerful, share it, rate it, help keep the memory alive. Because heroes like Paul Ray Smith live on, as long as we remember them. So until next time, signing off, John Yond.